The chamber fell silent as Ambassador Kellen's words echoed through the crystalline halls of the Galactic Council. Captain Jake Morrison stood at the center of the circular forum, surrounded by representatives from 43 species, each one avoiding his gaze. The holographic display above showed the voting results in stark blue light, 43-0, unanimous. "The decision is final," Kellen continued, his serpentine form coiling around his speaking podium. "Humanity is hereby banned from all space exploration beyond their home system. All human vessels currently in galactic space have 72 hours to return to Sol." Jake's jaw tightened. Around him, the alien representatives began to murmur among themselves, the clicking of the insectoid hive minds, the harmonic tones of the gaseous ethereals, the guttural growls of the militaristic Confederation. None of them would meet his eyes. "May I ask why?" Jake's voice carried across the chamber, cutting through the alien chatter. "What crime have we committed that warrants this exile?" The ethereal prime speaker, a shimmering being of pure energy, contained within a crystalline suit, drifted forward. "Your species is unpredictable, Captain Morrison. In the mere 50 years since first contact, humans have started 3 trade wars, colonized 14 disputed worlds, and somehow managed to accidentally discover faster-than-light travel while trying to build a better food processor. That was one incident that revolutionized galactic travel overnight," the prime speaker interrupted. "Your people don't follow established protocols. You improvise. You take risks that would terrify a berserker warrior. You turn everyday objects into weapons and scientific instruments into art projects." Jake spread his hands. "And this is bad?" "It's dangerous," Ambassador Kellen hissed. "The Confederation spent 10,000 years developing their military doctrine. Your people mastered it in 18 months and then improved it. The Traders Guild has economics down to a precise science. Humans turned their markets upside down with something you call emotional investing. The hive minds have perfect coordination," added the insectoid queen voice, her mandibles clicking rapidly. "Humans somehow achieve better results through what you call creative chaos. It defies all logic. Every great journey starts with a few brave explorers. Sci-fi stellar conflict is just beginning, and your support means everything. If you're hungry for HFY battles and tales of human valor against alien might, hit subscribe, it's free. And it helps us bring these frontlines to you." Jake looked around the chamber, seeing fear in every alien face. Not fear of human aggression or violence, fear of human unpredictability. Fear of innovation, fear of change. "So you're exiling us because we're too creative?" he asked. "We're protecting the galaxy from chaos," the prime speaker replied. "Humanity represents an unknown variable in a carefully balanced equation. Your species' tendency toward improvisation and risk-taking threatens the stability we've maintained for millennia. The Human Confederation has contributed more technological advances in 50 years than some species have in 10,000. Jake protested. "Our medical research has saved billions of lives. Our engineering solutions have made space travel safer and more efficient. Our diplomatic innovations have ended 3-sector wars." "Exactly," Ambassador Kellen said. "Too much change, too fast. The galaxy needs stability, not revolution." Jake felt a cold rage building in his chest. What about the colonies? The research stations? The joint projects? All human personnel will be recalled. All joint ventures will be terminated. All human-derived technologies will be regulated. The word hung in the air like a death sentence. Jake knew what regulated meant in galactic politics studied. Reverse engineered and then monopolized by the council species. "I see," Jake said quietly. "And if we refuse?" The chamber temperature seemed to drop several degrees. The Confederation war chief, a massive armored being with 4 arms and battle scars across his face, leaned forward. "Then you will be removed by force." Jake nodded slowly, his mind already racing through possibilities. 43 species against 1. The combined fleets of the galaxy against humanity's 100-ship navy. The math was simple and completely irrelevant. "Very well," he said. "We'll comply with your decision. Humanity will return to Sol System." As he turned to leave, Jake caught the relieved expressions on several alien faces. They thought they'd solved their problem. They thought they'd contained the chaos. They had no idea what they'd just unleashed. Dr. Emma Walsh stared at the holographic display, showing the last human ship disappearing through Sol's heliosphere. The observation deck of Luna Station was packed with scientists, engineers, and military personnel, all watching humanity's forced retreat from the galaxy. The silence was deafening. "Well," she said finally, pushing her glasses up her nose, "I guess we're officially unwelcome." General Marcus Stone, head of Human Defense Command, stood beside her with his arms crossed. 43 species. Emma. 43 different civilizations all agreed that we're too dangerous to exist in their galaxy. Too creative, corrected Dr. Tom Rivers, Emma's chief research partner. They banned us for being too good at solving problems. Emma turned from the viewport, her mind already working. Then let's give them something to really worry about. The room fell silent. Everyone knew that tone Dr. Emma Walsh had an idea, and her ideas tended to reshape reality. "What are you thinking?" General Stone asked cautiously. "Project Stellar." "Fist," Emma said simply. "We've had the theoretical framework for years. The Council just gave us the motivation to make it real." Tom's face went pale. "Emma, that's not a weapon. That's a force of nature." "Exactly." Emma's eyes gleamed. "They want us contained to one system? Fine, but I want insurance. I want to make sure that if anyone decides to remove us by force, they'll think twice." Project Stellar Fist was humanity's most classified research program, a theoretical weapon designed to destabilize stellar cores through precise gravitational manipulation. The mathematics were elegant, the physics were sound, and the implications were terrifying. A single device could trigger a supernova, turning a star into a weapon that could sterilize entire sectors. "The Council will never allow it, General," Stone said. "The Council doesn't get a vote," Emma replied. "They made that clear when they exiled us." Over the following months, Luna Station became a hive of activity. The galaxy's most brilliant minds, all human, all exiled, worked in secret to transform theoretical physics into practical engineering. They built quantum computers from asteroid minerals, fabricated exotic matter in Jupiter's magnetosphere, and designed delivery systems that could slip past any known defense. Meanwhile, the galaxy began to change. The first attack came without warning. A Confederation patrol fleet, 6 heavy cruisers, and a dreadnought simply vanished near the Omega Nebula. No distress signals, no debris, no survivors. One moment they were there, the next they were gone. Ambassador Kellen called an emergency council session. "We've lost contact with Battle Group 7, he announced to the assembled representatives. "All ships, all personnel, gone. Pirates?" suggested the Trader Guild representative. "What pirates have the firepower to destroy a Confederation battle group?" War Chief Braxis growled. This was something else. The Prime Speaker's energy field flickered nervously. "The timing is got concerning. 3 months after the human exile, we face an unknown threat." "You think the humans are responsible?" Kellen asked. "Humans don't have the technology to make entire fleets disappear," Braxis said. "Their ships are primitive compared to ours." But the attacks continued. A hive mind colony ship vanished in the Vega system. An ethereal research station went dark in the Centauri sector. A Trader Guild convoy disappeared without trace near the galactic core. Each incident was the same complete disappearance. No evidence, no survivors. The galaxy's most advanced civilizations were being picked off one by an invisible enemy. Back in Sol System, Emma watched the reports with grim satisfaction. Not because humans were responsible, they weren't, but because the galaxy was finally experiencing the kind of existential fear that came with facing the unknown. "The prototype is ready," Tom announced, entering her lab with a sealed container. Inside, a device no larger than a briefcase hummed with barely contained energy. "We've tested it on dead stars in the outer system. It works exactly as predicted." Emma nodded, her expression serious. "Then we're ready for Phase 2, which is, we wait," Emma said. "Someone out there is picking off Council fleets. When they get desperate enough, they'll come to us. And if they don't..." Emma's smile was cold. Then they'll learn what happens when you exile the galaxy's best problem solvers. The council chambers had never seen such chaos. Representatives from 43 species shouted, clicked, harmonized, and roared simultaneously as reports flooded in from across the galaxy. In the 6 months since humanity's exile, 67 ships had vanished without trace. The invisible enemy was growing bolder. Order! Order! Ambassador Kellen's voice cut through the cacophony. We must maintain discipline. War Chief Braxis slammed his 4 fists on his podium. Discipline? We've lost 3 battle groups. My finest commanders are gone, and we still don't know what we're fighting. The Prime Speaker's energy field crackled with distress. The attacks follow no pattern. Military vessels, civilian transports, research stations all equally vulnerable. There has to be a connection, clicked the hive mind queen voice. Some common factor we're missing. The chamber fell silent as a new voice echoed through the hall. It came from everywhere and nowhere, a whisper that seemed to speak directly to each representative's mind. We are the Void Collective. Every being in the chamber froze. The name was legendary, a civilization that had terrorized the galaxy eons ago before mysteriously vanishing. Ancient records spoke of living darkness, of ships that devoured light itself, of worlds consumed by an endless hunger. We have returned, the voice continued. The galaxy that cast us out will feed our growth. Your ships, your worlds, your very essence will become part of our collective. The holographic display activated, showing a star map with red markers spreading like a plague across the galactic spiral. Each marker represented a Void Collective incursion, and they were accelerating. Impossible, breathed the Traitor Guild representative. The Void Collective was destroyed. The ancient wars. We were not destroyed, the voice laughed, a sound like dying stars. We were dormant, waiting for the galaxy to grow fat and complacent. You have exceeded our expectations. The display zoomed in on specific sectors. The Confederation's core worlds were marked in red. The ethereal home system, the hive mind nursery planets. Every major civilization was targeted. We offer you a choice, the voice said. Surrender now, and your deaths will be swift. Resist, and we will consume your worlds slowly, savoring every moment of your despair. Ambassador Kellen rose shakily. How long do we have? Time is irrelevant. We come for you now. The display went dark. In the silence that followed, the reality of their situation sank in. The galaxy faced an enemy that had once brought civilization to its knees, and they were as divided and squabbling as ever. We need to mobilize every fleet, Braxis said. Every ship, every weapon. To what end? The Prime Speaker asked. Our ancestors fought the Void Collective for 1,000 years and barely drove them back. We don't have their numbers, their unity, or their desperation. Then we need allies, Kellen said quietly. All of them. The chamber erupted again. Species that had been enemies for millennia suddenly found themselves forced to cooperate. Old grudges were set aside as the magnitude of the threat became clear, but it wasn't enough. The first major battle came at the Rigel system. A combined fleet of 200 ships, Confederation dreadnoughts, ethereal energy projectors, hive mind swarm fighters, and Traitor Guild support vessels met the Void Collective's advance force. The battle lasted 4 minutes. The Void ships were unlike anything in the modern galaxy. They seemed to absorb weapon fire, growing stronger with each attack. Their own weapon streams of pure entropy that unraveled matter at the molecular level cut through the allied fleet like paper. Of the 200 ships that entered the battle, 7 survived to retreat. We need a miracle, Kellen said after reviewing the battle reports. Something our ancestors had that we don't. They had desperation, Braxis replied. And they had ... double quotes. He paused, the words sticking in his throat. They had what? The Prime Speaker asked. They had species willing to try impossible things. Species that ignored conventional wisdom. Species that ... He looked around the chamber. Species like humans. The silence was deafening. No, the hive mind queen voice clicked. We exiled them for good reason. They're too unpredictable too. Dangerous. More dangerous than extinction? Kellen asked Dot as if summoned by the conversation. The chamber's communication system activated. Captain Jake Morrison's image appeared on the main display, transmitted from Sol System. "Council," he said simply, "we've been monitoring your situation. It looks like you could use some help." The chamber exploded in angry voices. How dare the humans spy on them? How dare they offer help after being exiled? Jake waited for the noise to die down. The Void Collective destroyed 12 human colony ships in the ancient wars. We remember. We also remember that our ancestors helped drive them back. "Your ancestors were different," Kellen said. "They followed orders, they worked within the system." Jake's smile was cold. "No, they didn't. They did exactly what we do, they improvised. They took risks, they turned everyday objects into weapons." He paused. "And they won." "What do you want?" Praxis asked. "Full reinstatement. Immediate. All human personnel, all colonies, all research projects. Complete access to galactic space." "Impossible," the Prime Speaker said. "The risks are nothing." "Compared to extinction," Jake interrupted. "The Void Collective is coming whether you trust us or not. The question is, do you want our help stopping them?" The chamber fell silent as the representatives considered their options. Trust the humans and risk chaos, or face the Void Collective alone and guarantee destruction. Ambassador Kellen finally spoke. "What makes you think you can succeed where our combined fleets failed?" Jake's smile widened. "Because we've been preparing for this moment since the day you exiled us. And we've built something that's going to change the rules of this war." The Luna Station laboratory hummed with energy as Dr. Emma Walsh made final adjustments to the device. Project Stellar Fist had evolved beyond its original design, no longer just a weapon, but a surgical instrument capable of precise stellar manipulation. "Target confirmed," Tom announced from the control station, the Kepler 47 system. "Dying red giant, no inhabited worlds within 50 light years." Emma nodded. The demonstration had to be perfect. The assembled council fleet, over 300 ships, representing every major species, watched from a safe distance as humanity prepared to show them what they'd built during their exile. "Beginning gravitational cascade," Emma said, her fingers dancing over the controls. The device, now the size of a small shuttle, had been deployed near the target star. Its exotic matter core began to spin, creating microscopic distortions in space-time. The star responded immediately. The red giant's surface began to pulse in precise patterns, its magnetic field realigning under the device's influence. Instead of the violent explosion everyone expected, the star's death became a controlled process, matter streaming away in directed jets, its core condensing into a neutron star with mathematical precision. "Incredible," breathed the Prime Speaker. "You're not just killing stars, you're conducting them." Captain Jake Morrison, now aboard the Council flagship, watched the display with satisfaction. "We can trigger supernovas, create neutron stars, or even stabilize dying giants. The Void Collective feeds on chaos and destruction. We're going to give them the opposite: precise, controlled stellar engineering." War Chief Braxis studied the tactical implications. "Their ships absorb energy from conventional weapons, but this changes the nature of the battlefield itself," Jake confirmed. "We can turn entire systems into weapons, or deny them the stellar energy they need to regenerate." The demonstration continued for 6 hours. Emma's team showed how they could create gravity wells to trap enemy ships, generate directed stellar winds to push fleets off course, and even use controlled stellar fusion to power massive energy barriers. "How many devices do you have?" "Ambassador," Kellen asked. "Enough," Emma replied. "We've been busy." The truth was more complex. Humanity had built 37 Stellar Fist devices, each one requiring months of preparation and exotic materials that pushed human engineering to its limits. They were one-shot weapons, powerful beyond imagining, but limited in number. "There's more," Jake said. "We've been analyzing the Void Collective's attack patterns. They're not just consuming matter, they're harvesting stellar energy to power their ships. Cut off that energy source, and they become vulnerable. You want to drain entire star systems?" The hive mind queen voice clicked in alarm. "We want to control them," Jake corrected. Turn the galaxy's stellar energy into a weapon they can't absorb or defend against. The demonstration ended with a spectacular display. The dying red giant's matter streams were directed into a controlled spiral, creating a natural stellar forge that could produce heavy elements on command. It was beautiful, terrifying, and absolutely impossible by conventional physics. "Your species never ceases to amaze," the Prime Speaker said. "In our exile, you've learned to kill stars." "We've learned to conduct them," Emma corrected. "There's a difference." The alliance was formalized within hours. Humanity was not just reinstated, they were given tactical command of the Stellar Warfare Division. The first joint operation was planned for the Vega system, where a Void Collective fleet was massing for an assault on the Confederation core worlds. But as the combined fleets prepared to depart, long-range sensors detected something troubling. The Void Collective wasn't just building ships, they were building something massive at the galactic core. A structure that dwarfed anything in recorded history. "What is that?" Kellen asked, staring at the sensor readings. Jake's face was grim. "Their queen ship, their command center. The source of their power." He turned to Emma. "How many devices would it take to destroy something that size?" Emma ran the calculations. "All of them. Every single device, coordinated perfectly. And even then ... She shook her head. "The energy requirements are enormous. We'd need multiple stars to power the attack." "Then we'd better get started," Jake said. "Because if that thing becomes fully operational, not even stellar engineering will save us." The assembled fleets began their journey toward the galactic core, carrying with them humanity's star-killing weapons and the desperate hope of 43 species. Behind them, the Void Collective's forces moved to intercept, their dark ships spreading across the galaxy like a plague. The final battle was coming, and the stakes couldn't be higher. The survival of civilization itself depended on humanity's ability to turn stars into weapons and chaos into victory. As the fleets entered hyperspace, Emma made one last adjustment to the lead device. "Tom," she said quietly, "I want you to know what we're attempting has never been tried before. The physics are theoretical, the risks are incalculable, and the margin for error is zero." Tom smiled. "Sounds like a typical human project." "Exactly," Emma replied. "Let's go save the galaxy." The galactic core burned with unnatural light as the combined fleets emerged from hyperspace. Before them stretched the Void Collective's ultimate creation, a structure that defied comprehension. It was part ship, part space station, part living entity, stretching across several star systems and feeding directly on the supermassive black hole at the galaxy's heart. "By the ancient stars," War Chief Braxis breathed. "It's using the black hole as a power source." Captain Jake Morrison studied the tactical display. The enemy structure was surrounded by thousands of void ships, their dark hulls absorbing light from nearby stars. At the center, the Queen ship pulsed with stolen stellar energy, growing stronger with each passing moment. "Emma," he called to the science vessel, "how long do we have?" Dr. Emma Walsh's voice crackled through the cum. "The gravitational distortions are accelerating. If that thing reaches full power, it won't just threaten the galaxy, it'll start consuming other galaxies. We're looking at universal extinction." The battle began immediately. The Void Collective's forces moved like a living shadow, their ships flowing around the Allied fleet in patterns that seemed to mock conventional tactics. Energy weapons fired into the darkness were absorbed, strengthening the enemy. Kinetic rounds passed through their hulls like they were made of smoke. But humanity had learned from the ancient wars. They didn't try to fight the Void Collective conventionally. "Stellar Fist 1, initiate primary sequence," Jake commanded. The first device activated near a red giant on the battle's edge. Instead of destroying the star, it began to conduct its fusion process, directing the star's energy output into a focused beam that carved through the enemy formation. The Void ships tried to absorb the energy, but there was too much. They overloaded and began to break apart. Stellar Fist 2, create gravity well at coordinate 77 Mark IV. The second device collapsed a dying star into a neutron star in seconds, creating a gravitational anomaly that trapped dozens of enemy ships. They struggled against the pull, their dark hulls beginning to crack under the impossible forces. It's working, the Prime Speaker reported. Their absorption capabilities have limits. But the Void Collective adapted quickly. The Queen ship began to pulse with darker energy, and the trapped vessels started to merge together, becoming something larger and more terrible. They're evolving, Emma warned. The collective consciousness is learning from each engagement. Jake made a decision. That would have been impossible for any other species. All vessels fall back to minimum safe distance. We're going to use all remaining devices simultaneously. All of them? Ambassador Kellen asked in shock. That's 34 star-killing weapons. 34 stellar conductors, Jake corrected. And yes, all of them. We're going to turn the galactic core into a weapon. The maneuver was insane by any conventional measure. Humanity was planning to destabilize dozens of stars simultaneously, creating a cascade effect that would reshape the fundamental structure of the galaxy's center. The energy release would be visible from other galactic clusters. Emma, can the calculations hold? Jake asked. The math is solid, she replied. The engineering is impossible. The risks are incalculable. It's the most human thing we've ever attempted. Then let's do it. The 34 remaining stellar fist devices activated in perfect synchronization. Around the galactic core, stars began to dance to humanity's tune. Some collapsed into neutron stars, others exploded in controlled supernovas, and still others had their fusion processes accelerated beyond natural limits. The Void Collective's Queen ship tried to absorb the energy, but it was like trying to drink an ocean. The stellar cascade created forces that hadn't existed since the universe's birth, gravity waves that rippled through space-time, energy densities that turned vacuum into plasma, and temporal distortions that made causality itself uncertain. It's beautiful, whispered the ethereal Prime Speaker, as stellar fire painted the cosmos in impossible colors. The Queen ship began to buckle. Its dark hull, designed to absorb energy, couldn't process the output of 34 stars being conducted simultaneously. Cracks appeared in its structure, and real light began to leak through. The collective consciousness is fragmenting, reported the hive mind Queen voice. The individual ships are losing coordination. But the battle wasn't over. The Queen ship made one last desperate attempt, drawing power directly from the supermassive black hole. For a moment, it seemed to stabilize, its wounds healing as it fed on the universe's most powerful energy source. Then Emma played her final card. Stellar Fist Alpha, initiate event horizon manipulation. The most experimental device, one that existed only in theoretical physics, activated at the edge of the black hole's event horizon. It didn't try to destroy the black hole or even manipulate it directly. Instead, it created a controlled distortion in space-time that briefly reversed the flow of matter and energy. For exactly 3 seconds, the supermassive black hole became a white hole, expelling instead of consuming, creating instead of destroying. The energy release was beyond measurement, beyond comprehension, beyond anything that had ever existed in the natural universe. The Void Collective's Queen ship, still connected to the black hole, received the full force of creation itself. It didn't just die, it was unmade, its very atoms scattered across dimensions that didn't have names. The remaining Void ships, cut off from their collective consciousness, began to dissolve. Without the Queen ship's coordination, they were just darkness, and light always defeats darkness. In the aftermath, as the stellar fires died down and the galaxy began to stabilize, the survivors took stock of what had happened. Humanity had not just won the battle, they had fundamentally altered the nature of spacetime itself. The galactic core will be unstable for millennia, Emma reported. But it's contained. The cascade won't spread beyond the designated area. Ambassador Kellen looked at the display showing the aftermath. Where the Void Collective structure had been, new stars were being born from the expelled matter. Life would return to the galactic core, but it would be different, chaotic, unpredictable, and beautiful. What you've done, he said to Jake, it's impossible. It violates every law of physics we know. Jake smiled. We didn't violate them. We conducted them. There's a difference. The vote was unanimous 43-0. Humanity was not just reinstated in the galactic community. They were given a permanent seat on the council. More than that, They were recognized as the galaxy's guardians against the impossible. Because sometimes, when the universe itself was threatened, civilization needed its most dangerous species, the ones crazy enough to turn stars into symphonies and make the impossible seem routine. As the fleets prepared to return home, Emma made one final log entry. Today we learned that humans aren't just special because we're creative or unpredictable. We're special because we refuse to accept that some things can't be done. We don't just solve problems, we redefine what's possible. The galaxy was safe, humanity was home, and the stars themselves had learned to sing human songs. The age of stellar warfare had begun, and at its heart stood the species that had been too dangerous to trust, until they became too valuable to exile.